What is going on, Jet fans? I am Matt O'Leary, back with another video, and I'd like to talk to you guys today about why the New York Jets have a major advantage going into the 2024 NFL draft. I know what you're thinking. Well, man, didn't they just win a couple meaningless games at the end of the year to push them back a little bit in the draft? They fall to pick number 10. Yeah, that did happen, and I'm not upset about it. But what I want to discuss today is why the Senior Bowl is going to come into play as a major draft advantage. All right, we are back with some Underdog fantasy picks for the divisional round. Make sure to sign up using my code MATT. Link is down below in the description to receive a 100% deposit match bonus from our guys over at Underdog Fantasy. All right, 3 plays to win 75, 10 to win 75. Josh Allen higher on the rushing yards, 44.5. He is someone who can get that on one play. He's an animal. I think he tucks in and runs a few times. Christian McCaffrey higher than 18.5 rushing attempts. Christian McCaffrey, I would expect to get a lot of work. Brock Purdy, I don't think they're going to ask him to do a whole lot. And I think with how well Jordan Love has been playing, the 49ers recipe for success is play keep away. Run the ball and keep your offense on the field. And finally, CJ Stroud higher at 1.25, by the way. On 1.5 passing touchdowns, I think he throws a couple against Baltimore. And you know what? I think the Ravens are on upset alert. Make sure to sign up using my code down below and get in on the action over at Underdog Fantasy. Okay, so good news for the New York Jets and specifically for Jeff Ulbrich. So it was announced yesterday that Jeff Ulbrich was named the coach of the Senior Bowl national team, the head football coach. He has served as the Jets defensive coordinator for the last 3 seasons, and that unit has deservingly gotten a lot of praise, and Jeff Ulbrich has gotten some recognition as someone who should be a head coaching candidate sooner rather than later. And while this offseason does not feel like it's going to be the time for him to get a head coaching interview, which is on the touch side surprising, but coordinators for teams who don't make the playoffs and don't win a lot of games are not going to necessarily get that recognition, even if their units are not the problem and actually very, very good to elite most weeks. But he's getting his first little test at the Senior Bowl as he will be the head coach of that team. Now, if you remember, the Jets had a similar advantage right before the 2022 NFL draft. That one you might remember, a pretty historical draft as, the Jets landed so many talented players in that one. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson, Jeremy Ruckert, Max Mitchell, Michael Clemens. That was the Jets 2022 NFL draft class. But if you look a little bit deeper at that draft class, and even one of their first round picks in Jermaine Johnson, 3 of the guys that the Jets ended up drafting from that year played or participated at the Senior Bowl. Jeremy Ruckert, Max Mitchell, and Jermaine Johnson were all guys who were drafted by the Jets that year that played and participated at the Senior Bowl. The best of that bunch, obviously, Jermaine Johnson. But if you remember, around this time in 2022, Jermaine Johnson was looked at as someone who was maybe the Jets could get with didn't they have pick 35? Something like that. I don't know why that's jumping out to me. That number in my head is jumping out for some reason. But moral of the story, it looked like, okay, maybe he would fall to the Jets in the second round. And then the conversation after this was, oh my God, Jermaine Johnson's played himself into a top 10 pick. Now he ended up falling to 26 and the Jets grabbed him there, but his stock rose significantly and there was that initial connection while they were down in Mobile, Alabama. Same could be said about Jeremy Ruckert and Max Mitchell. Jeremy Ruckert famously went up to the New York Jets and Joe Douglas at the Senior Bowl was like, hey, I'm a Jet. I grew up a Jets fan. I'm from Long Island, right? And they were like, yes, Jeremy, we know. We know that. So that was a good one. Obviously, high hopes for Jeremy Ruckert going into year 3. I think he could be the tight end 2 on this team behind Tyler Conklin. I think that would be a pretty nice tight end duo, honestly, but we'll see what his role looks like. And Max Mitchell has started a lot of games for the Jets over the last 2 years. Hasn't really played that great, but is someone who they've used a lot over the last 2 years. So I think this gives the Jets an advantage. And Ulbrich, obviously, as we know, is a defensive coordinator by trade, but he's going to get a chance to look at a lot of these guys. And there's some relatively big names here at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, maybe some of the top picks aren't going to be there, but looking at some positions of need for the Jets, on the offensive side of the ball, quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, there's some names. Quarterback, you want a developmental quarterback? How about you got Spencer Rattler, Pratt, Milton, Nix, Hartman, Penix, and Carter Bradley are your quarterbacks down there. I am someone who is on the team that the Jets should take a developmental player at that quarterback position on day 3, round 4 or 5, somewhere in that round, and maybe you develop into a longer-term guy. And there's going to be some names there. Bo Nix and Michael Penix, probably not. Both those guys, I would assume, are going to end up being first-round picks when it's all said and done, but Pratt's a popular name. Milton's a popular name. Rattler's a popular name as someone who's going to be a day 2 or day 3 prospect who's maybe a developmental guy. At wide receiver, same kind of deal. Ricky Pearsall, Johnny Wilson, Brendan Rice, son of, Jerry Rice. Ladd McConkey, a Green Bean favorite, and Roman Wilson out of Michigan are all participants in the Senior Bowl. All those guys expected to be roughly mid-round selections. And offensive tackle, this is the big one. So a lot, not all, but a lot of people are team offensive tackle or offensive lineman at pick 10. And someone the Jets will be able to get to see is Talisi Fuaga. He is someone who is participating at the Senior Bowl at offensive tackle. Other bigger names as well, Tyler Guyton and Ladarius Henderson. But Talisi Fuaga is someone who will likely be there for them at pick number 10 and very well could be the pick if both Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu are off the board, which I think of those two guys, Fashanu has the better chance of being there at pick 10, albeit a smaller chance. Like we've seen some mock drafts recently where he has been there for the New York Jets at pick 10 and been selected and mocked to the New York Jets at pick 10. That would be a home run. I would absolutely love that if the New York Jets were able to land him, but I'm also personally a big Talisi Fuaga fan. He's my offensive tackle 3, and I don't think there's as big of a gap from him to the other two as some people feel. And that's fine. Everyone's going to have their own opinion on the NFL draft, but the Jets will be able to get a close-up look at Fuaga. Now, on the interior offensive line, how about Troy Fontenot? That is someone who maybe would be a first rounder if the Jets moved back in the NFL draft, which is, again, something that a lot of Jet fans would like to see. Trevor Keegan, Christian Haynes out of UConn, and Cooper Beebe as well. Beebe out of, I forget where he goes, but doesn't matter. Moral of the story is Jeff Ulbrich is going to become a very, very important man at Mobile, Alabama, because, well, the Senior Bowl is a very good opportunity to scout these guys, and being there and coaching it, I think, is a huge advantage for the New York Jets. Granted, maybe I would have liked an offensive guy to be there, but I will absolutely take Jeff Ulbrich being there. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. Please, before you go, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.